Hi friends. Today I wanted to talk about a Japanese phrase that's used when leaving work in Japan. Generally there's two phrases that are typically used. One is "お疲れ様です," which is a way to, it's a phrase to show appreciation for others' hard work. So you'll be like, "お疲れ様です," and it'll be kind of saying, uh, I appreciate your hard work, uh, that you're still continuing, kind of. But the other phrase that's used a lot is "お先に失礼します." And this one roughly translates to something like, pardon my uh, leave, early leave. And that one is used a lot too because in Japan, I guess there's a tendency for people to work overtime a lot. Sometimes I think that has kind of helped influence this phrase to be used a lot more frequently because people are, in some sense, apologizing for leaving earlier than others who are still working. But in my previous work, this second phrase, "お先に失礼します," pardon my early leave, was taken out of our vocabulary to some extent because the way the department saw it was that you shouldn't have to apologize for leaving on time. And because the phrase in itself has a nuance of apology within it. And I was fine with that, and I thought that it was a good thing because by apologizing, to some extent, you're reinforcing in your mind that you should feel bad for leaving before others who are just working extra late. And I don't think that's good, or so I thought in my previous work. But I guess recently, the way I've been thinking about that phrase, I still avoid it out of habit, and also because I don't want to kind of instill a work culture that promotes actively working overtime late. But I was thinking about the kind of culture I do want to create within the company, and that's one of empathy and respect for others without expectation of it. And in that sense, I felt that the way you think about that phrase, "pardon my early leave," I hope that's a good rough translation. But if you purely see it from the standpoint of empathizing for others who have, on their own, decided to work however they want to work, hopefully not due to the cultural pressure, I don't think it's bad to want to show empathy or use a phrase that kind of shows empathy and appreciation for the others. And I think it's just, a lot of it is perspective. And I, th- I think there are other ways to make sure that you don't promote a culture that pressures people to overwork over time. Of course, these small behaviors and phrases can help lead to a culture that pressurizes that, maybe, but at the same time, I think as long as you approach the phrase in the sense of just appreciating others, it could still be safe and okay to use. I hope that makes sense. And so, as I mentioned before, I want to create a culture where people show empathy and respect for others without the expectation of it from others. So if someone is leaving, let's say, on time, while others are still working late, and they say, お先に失礼します, and they show kind of empathy for those staying behind to work later. One time. And then there's another situation where it's reverse, but let's say the other person doesn't use the phrase お疲れ様です or お先に失礼します pardon my early leave. If people feel weird about that or annoyed that they're not using these phrases when they themselves have been using it whenever they left for other people, I think that's an issue. I don't think it's wrong that people want others to show appreciation for themselves too, but that's where my don't have expectation for it comes into play. And if there's no expectation of an individual needing to feel appreciation from others for working late, then I don't think it would reinforce a culture that pressurizes working late. I hope what I'm trying to say makes sense. And because as long as there's no expectation from each other, I don't think that pressure to work late will exist. And in that sense, being able to say these simple phrases like, pardon my early leave, would be okay because it doesn't kind of imply apologizing per se for leaving work early, but just kind of showing the emotional connections towards your peers who are still working late and showing that appreciation through this phrase only. And that I do want to maybe maintain and appreciate. I hope what I'm trying to say makes sense, but I don't know. I guess in the end, I feel that some of these phrases that could be interpreted as ways into creating a culture that pressurizes late work culture, a lot of it just has to do with the culture in itself and how people interpret it. And so as long as I build and maintain a culture that has people interpreting these phrases in a way that is for appreciation rather than feeling bad for not working late or expecting people who leave before you to apologize for leaving early, I think it would be okay. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I really hope what I said makes sense, but anyways, that's what I want to talk about. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you guys up again another time. Bye.